Previously on Balls.
Darling Joe Crann now. Joe's going to just bring us up to speed. The debate has been ongoing about if Orlando Pirates win the Champions League against Al Ahly on November the 2nd and November the 9th, the two-legged final. Will Kaiser Chiefs and Orlando Pirates be able to both play in the African Champions League next year? Joe Crann, you wrote a very, very good blog yesterday all about this. Joe, tell me, from your point of view, what happens next year? If Orlando Pirates win the African Champions League this year, what happens for South Africa next year?
Basically, if Pirates win it, Chiefs and Pirates both play in the tournament next year, which I mean would be huge for South Africa. I think that people don't really understand the enormity of what Pirates have actually achieved by getting to the stage that they're at in this tournament this year. I mean, it's so big for South Africa and so big potentially for Bafana Bafana in the future as well. But yeah, basically the long and short of it is that the team that wins the CAF Champions League gets the chance to defend the trophy, defend the title the following year, regardless of whether they finish in the qualification spots in the domestic league.
Brilliant. That's what we want to know. That's exactly. There was a weird story came up because I believed that as well. I all along I thought that would be the case, and then someone wrote a story saying that because we don't have enough points, there's a coefficient that lists the successful teams, and only some teams are allowed to have. Some countries are allowed to have two teams. But you have spoken to CAF. You have completely ascertained that we will have two sides if Orlando Pirates win this final huge clash against Al Ahly. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, like you say to me, CAF have confirmed to me that this is the case. That is going to be the story, regardless of what happens in domestic leagues and that sort of thing. Basically, the coefficient and the point system that CAF work on, that is to do with how many teams qualify from the league. So whether you get two people that go through the qualification phase, and whether you have or whether you have one person per tournament. And basically, that like I say, that's the long and short of it. With regards to this one, there's no doubt in my mind. CAF have told me that this is the case. If Pirates win this game against Al Ahly, then next year we'll have two South African teams in the CAF Champions League, and that will be huge.
Yeah, and Joe, what I liked about your blog yesterday was that, you know, for a lad who comes from Sheffield, you've been here a couple of years now working on Soccer Laduma. You were the one that was making the point, as I was trying to make on Saturday night. It doesn't matter about the missed chances. It doesn't matter about anything else. Lucky Lakwati, all that stuff doesn't matter. The scale of this achievement, and you've seen it, it's enormous. What happened at TP Mazembe? What happened in the Congo? What happened with some of the training grounds they were given? For Orlando Pirates to do this, it's almost larger, isn't it, than like Arsenal getting to the Champions League final, because they've had to compete against the odds, against some of the forces in Northern Africa, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I completely agree. To be honest, I had a feeling after the TP Mazembe game that Pirates would do well in this tournament. Yeah. I just had an inkling that after they made it through that, which was ridiculous, I thought after they made it through that, then they were going to be fine. Like I had a little feeling that for some reason they were going to do well in this tournament, and I think that game especially brought them together as a team. I think that one, the team spirit that has been shown since then, I think has been absolutely phenomenal from Pirates, and they fully deserve to be where they are at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And don't you find it a relief, Joe? I mean, I spent a long time in England in the press. You have experience of it. It's it's a great relief in South Africa when you can speak to the top coaches. When the top coaches don't have to have a press conference in order to inform people of things, they will actually tell you what's going on, and they'll be pretty honest and upfront with you. It's a great relief to work in South African football in many ways, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's nice from a journalist point of view where we are able to give somebody a call and actually just have a chat, and even if it's not for anything on record, even if it's just a case of having a chat and discussing what's going on there. I mean, it is nice to have that opportunity. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all football fans, so if we get the opportunity to speak to an expert, for want of a better word, then it's awesome. I mean, you've just had Stuart on now, and I mean, from my point of view, whenever I do get a chance to speak to Stuart, which is obviously rarely due to the situation with us and Chiefs, but every time when I do get a chance to speak to Stuart, it's an education. Like it's the same with Roger. Like these guys are where they are in football because of a talent that they have, and like you say, in South Africa, as journalists, we do get the opportunity to really explore that route.
Absolutely, and I think it's a great privilege for us to do that. Joe, I know you support Sheffield Wednesday, who play in the Sunday League, is it in England? What league are they in? And
Give me a break.
I just wondered, did you happen to watch PSG last night? Did you watch?
No, for some reason I couldn't find it on TV.
No, I couldn't find it.
I've seen the goals. The goals, but I ended up watching United instead. But Ibra's on another level, mate. Like, I don't know if you've seen his third goal yet.
No, that's what I'm hoping that you might have. Just for our listeners and viewers, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, the guy with the lovely hair, produced 4 for PSG last night and was apparently quite scintillating. And of course, Real Madrid last night. Did you watch any of Real Madrid?
Yeah, I watched the highlights. Yeah, I saw basically all the goals, but I didn't obviously get to see all the games.
No, you can't watch all of them. And Pirates winning 4-0.
You can try. SuperSport make it very easy for you. I mean, you can flick in and out. It's quite nice. But no, I mean, Ibra's third was. I think they clocked it at something. I think it was 100 miles an hour.
Bloody hell. Yeah. I sometimes think he's a bit of a show pony, but yeah, he definitely produces it when he wants to, doesn't he? That lad.
No,
listen, any ideas where the Champions League might go this year? What's your feeling?
To be honest, looking at how Bayern are doing at the minute, I can't see past them.
Yeah, they came through. They got a lot.
Man City.
Sorry, Comfort Keswer, my producer, just wants to make his point here.
Man City.
He says Man City.
MCFC.
What is going on here? We've got South African Man City fans, and there aren't any anywhere in England that I know of.
Really?
No, in Manchester. Actually, in Manchester, Joe, I'm sure you'll confirm this, there's more Man City fans than Man United fans in Manchester itself, in my view.
All the Man United fans are elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And Man City represented in this studio by Comfort Keswer. But I can't see Man City getting beyond Bayern, and I can't see them getting beyond Barcelona either. So, Joe, you're going with Bayern,
we're going to get Real Madrid to beat Bayern for us, and then we can beat the rest of the other teams. So simple.
No, I think it's quite open, actually. It's quite a nice competition this year. I mean, with the way that Arsenal are playing, I know they lost to Dortmund, but I mean, they're playing some very nice football. So, I mean, I'm not going to rule them out. Like, there's a lot that can be said. There's a lot that can be done still. So, I mean, there's some top players in the Champions League, which is why we all watch it for what it is. So, I mean, I'm just looking forward to. It's nice watching it as a neutral, to be honest. Like, I mean, my team are probably never going to be there in my lifetime.
Oh, Sheffield Wednesday.
So yeah, I think it could be a few decades before that's even an opportunity. But so it is nice to watch it as a neutral, and I think that obviously, I mean, I'd love to see the English teams do well, but at the end of the day, it's a good football that we all watch it for.
Yeah, I see. There's some interesting stuff from Yaya Toure today. They played CSK in Moscow yesterday. Comfort, you and I were talking about this earlier. Manchester City went there 1-2-1 at Moscow, and Yaya Toure very, very upset again by Russian fans and racist chanting. He's come out today and said something should be done. The stadium should be emptied. Joe, we don't get that kind of problem in South Africa. We don't have problems with racism in our grounds. Why should people put up with it anywhere in the world?
No, 100%. I think that it's something that's, for me, I don't understand how it's still even a thing. Like, I don't understand how there's still people in the world that think that way, especially when there's so many different races of players playing all over the place. I think it's phenomenal that there is anything there anymore. And I mean, Yaya Toure is right. If these teams, I mean, it's against human rights. Like, it's not a case of it's a hooligan or it's a problem with the club. This is against, like, players being subjected to this kind of thing is against the human rights. And if clubs aren't making sure their fans adhere to those rules, then there needs to be something done.
Brilliant. That's a good way to end it, Joe. Love it. All right, mate. Listen, we'll stay in touch whenever Sheffield Wednesday win, which will be 3 or 4 times this year, and
hopefully.
and look forward to that Soweto derby on Saturday.
Definitely. I think this one's going to end in a draw, to be honest. I've said 2-2, so I'll stick to that for now.
Okay, mate. Sitting on the fence, I'll go for Pirates with Knowledge Masono out. You know, as we've just revealed.
Yeah, no, it's a big blow for them. It's a big blow.
Joe, thanks as always, mate. Thanks and great work on Soccer Laduma, mate. Cheers,
Thanks,
Joe.
very much.
Bye, mate.
Bye.
Okay, Joe Crann, interesting lad. Getting more and more airtime. Comfort. He's on back pages a lot, which is a big thing to crack into, the back pages, and he's making good appearances and doing well. He knows his football. And what's nice and refreshing is he comes from a completely objective viewpoint. I know A lot of people are accused of being Chiefs or Pirates fans, and Joe obviously completely neutral. He's a Sheffield Wednesday fan. Sheffield Wednesday, for those of you that don't know, was a very big football club and has a very big football ground called Hillsborough, a very historic and sometimes tragic ground. But Joe comes over and offers his particular views, his objective views on South African football.
Neal, speak of obviously if Pirates wins, then they qualify for the next season.
Yes.
And how long will that last? Will it only be for a season or for a couple of seasons to come, or what does that really mean for South African soccer? Does that mean that 2 teams automatically qualify every year, or is it just for a season?
Right, for one season only.
Okay.
We will have 2 sides in the Champions League, because Orlando Pirates get to defend the trophy if they win it, that is.
Yep.
And Kaizer Chiefs will go as champions. But after that, what you call a coefficient kicks in. If you just Google CAF Champions League, you'll see this coefficient. Very complicated. You get 5 points for a win, and then that's multiplied by 5 this year, and then by 4 next year, 3 next year. So I'm assuming and hoping, like Joe is, that if we have 2 sides in next year and they both get to the group stages, our coefficient, as it's called, will shoot up ahead of some of the teams like, say, Egypt and Tunisia are up the top at the moment. But sides like Zimbabwe, we're just on the verge of getting 2 sides in. If both of our sides get to the group stages next year, then I think the year after we'll automatically get 2 sides in. But that'll be first and second in the league, even if we don't win the African Champions League the year after. It's the same in England. You can see, like in England at the moment, they have 3 sides in and a 4th side to qualify. And yet Scotland, Celtic have to play qualifying games before they even get in as champions. It's to give the big nations more representation. I actually don't agree with it. I think it should just be champions and the previous year's winners. And that's largely how it works in Africa. But Egypt worked their way into that situation. Al Ahly and Zamalek, both in Pirates Group. Even though their league was suspended.
Tunisia as well.
Tunisia had two in at the start. CS Faxi and Ruud Krol's side have now got to the final of the CAF Confederations Cup, and that's how it works. That eventually we could work our way into a situation where we have 2 sides in the African Champions League most years, and certainly next year if Pirates were to beat Al Ahly on the 2nd and 9th of November, 2-legged African Champions League final. That's the situation. Cool. Great stuff. Comfort, and thank you to Joe Crann. We'll move on to top odds, our backers, and we'll talk about the odds on the Soweto Derby and on some of the big games in Europe and in South Africa over the weekend. Soweto Derby being the main one, of course. Joe there saying it's going to be a draw. I'm with Pirates on this one. I think with Masona out, the informed Kaizer Chiefs striker is vital to what they do, not just in his goal screen, but the way he holds the ball up and the work that he does. I really rate Knowledge Masona, even though he had this tough time in Germany.
This is Balls Visual Radio.